things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner. Is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner. Is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion. I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.
Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests, are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Hello. Hello. This is My Life DIY and
hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Rippin' Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to DarkWolf's Den.
The DarkWolf's Den Show on Ripon Common Sense Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Are ghosts real?
We had 1,000 hours of continuous communication with the spirit world.
Does time travel actually exist?
The laws of physics seem to be compatible with time machines.
You know, sometimes I wonder about reincarnation. Don't you?
A 4-year-old boy in Adelaide, Australia, has told his parents that he used to be Britain's Princess Diana.
What would happen if the world found out that aliens were real?
I didn't say disclosure would be easy, but what is the alternative?
To establish a space force as the 6th branch of the armed forces.
We have so many questions and yet so little time, so to have you here, the pleasure is all mine.
Coming to you from a secret mountain cave, hidden deep within the Idaho wilderness. This is the DarkWolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and we are broadcasting live across the multiverse from a secret cave, hidden high up in the beautifully snow-covered peaks of the Idaho mountains. That's right. We're ripping through the electromagnetic soup, tearing through the atmosphere, and tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle. This is the DarkWolf's Den Show for Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go over some recent UFO reported case files. We finished our book on the secret KGB book of alien races yesterday, and today we're going to go over just the reports that have come in just in the last month to the UFO Reporting Center. All that and more coming up here in just a moment, but first, today in history. And this particular today in history actually has a huge Mandela effect associated with it. In 1989, the beginning of the Tiananmen Square massacre as Chinese troops opened fire on pro-democracy supporters in Beijing. That was on this day in 1989. And that is today's Today in History. And a lot of people remember the guy at Tiananmen Square, run over by the tank. Apparently he never got run over. That's a huge Mandela effect. Really interesting. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, our other new segment we've started.
Say what?
That's right. This is the quote of the day, ladies and gentlemen. There are more stars in the sky than there are grains of sand on the earth. Carl Sagan. And that is today's episode of
Say What?
And you know, guys, the scientists say that almost every single star has a planet around it, at least one. And it is my belief that a lot of these planets hold life, not just bacterial life, but life like us, if not much, much more advanced than us. Like, we just got done going over the Alien Races book, the secret KGB Alien Races book, and there was a lot of different races listed in there, and whether you believe everything in there or not, that's up to you. Some of that stuff I thought was a little questionable, even myself, but I'm just here to present it to you, right? Well, like I said, every star has a planet, and it is my belief that it is my belief a majority of these planets has life. And it is also my belief that some of this life has visited us and does visit us on a regular basis. And I think that's only going to increase as we go forward in time. We do know also that the government is supposed to have 2 days ago released a UFO report. Of course, they're very late, and I told you guys before I didn't expect it to come out the first day of June. We all know our government does not work like that, right? But we are supposed to get this UFO disclosure report sometime soon, we do hope. However, why wait for a report when we can go straight to the reporting centers and get our own UFO reports and try to figure this out on our own, right? Well, there is a website called the National UFO Reporting Center, or NUFORC, and it is www.nuforc.org. That's right, newfork.org. And over here you're going to find a lot of UFO reports. There's one guy that runs this. He does an amazing job. He takes these reports and he presents them online for anyone and everyone to see. And we're going to go over as many as we can tonight from the month of May. These are just from the month of May. This goes to show how the increase in these sightings is really occurring, because I don't even think we're going to make it a quarter of the way down this page. There are so many on this page. And if you guys would like to follow along, you're more than welcome. Once again, just go on over to newfork.org. That is NUFORC. From there, let's go to the home page. I'll walk you guys through how to get where we're at. So from there, we're going to click Enter Site. And then we're going to click on Reports Database under Data Bank. And then I'm going to index by event date in 5/21. There are 258 cases just in the month of May, 254 in April, 237 in March. So we're got a pretty consistent. As a matter of fact, they're down from what the numbers were most of last year. Now that's interesting. So UFO reports this year seem to be down just a hair. That's intriguing. But we're going to go over some of these reports that have been turned in. Like the one out of Atlanta, Georgia, starting us off on the 19th of May. Says May 19th, 2021, roughly around 8:15 p.m., I was out with my children and was gazing up at the moon. Then I saw a black object moving slowly across the sky towards the west. Coming up quickly behind the object was a jet airliner taking off from Hartsfield Airport. They came so close they could have collided. I thought I was recording the whole incident, but when I look at my phone, it wasn't filming. I missed everything. I happened to look back up and saw another black object heading west. This time, I was able to capture the footage. And it does not show the footage here, unfortunately, so even if I wanted to, I got nothing to share with you. And of course, that was in the state of Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. Our next one is coming to us from North Halden, New Jersey. It says, I'm no stranger to flying things, but yesterday was very interestingly unusual. Attached is a drawing, and that's how close it was that I could see, and there's no drawing on this page, so he didn't present the drawing. He said, I didn't have my phone next to me, so I had to do a quick drawing. Once again, there's nothing on this page. Now, this looks like a four-legged bug laying on top of water like it was floating. It was very flat-looking, low enough that I could make out the shape very well. Traveling southwest from a northern line, it was like watching a plane that had been flipped around but was still flying forward as the propulsion seemed to be coming from the back fins, which were large, wide wings with what looked like tiny tube cylinders on the end of each of those fins. The fuselage was thin, small, like the structure of a bug compared to its wings in some species. It was very like a pencil, but better yet, a slick white pen. The two front fins looked flat and petite compared to the whole size, possibly pushing air down. I mean, this construct blew my mind. The Star Wars, the jet that has the X propelling it forward, it had a very low sound like a plane. It's about to be Fleet Week, so maybe it's just a prototype of some sort of something, but it wasn't flying towards New York City. Okay, then the other sighting that happened moments later, that invisible-looking plane was flying towards the east at a really high altitude. If it was the dudes flying that cool prototype, the sun totally gave them up as good as that tech was on it. I guess human tech still glitters. It was cool watching something I could barely make out, and if it weren't for the other thing I saw, I would have never noticed it. But I guess any random person would have seen the glitter on the vessel. I always have my eye to the sky when I'm outside anyway. I always see crazy stuff on this mountain. What used to be woods and a quarry It's a great location for aerial phenomenon. And let me stop right there. I also live atop a mountain, and it is a great location to spot aerial phenomena, but I haven't personally spotted anything out of the normal in the last couple of years that I've been up here in the mountains. Ring should make cams from the rooftop so we can capture more, like coming in for a landing and as low as you can in airspace. Like, I don't know if anyone's allowed to be that low there, or how in the world did it glide that low? Still racking my brain. How fun, because it's strange. Not the best drawing, sorry, and again, there's no drawing here. Seriously, though, this plain looking and flat. And it's like a big bug's legs fully extended, lying flat on top of film of water, just gliding slowly along. Sounds like a cigar-shaped UFO, doesn't it? Like the body of a bug. That's what I would assume, a cigar-shaped UFO. Now, here's an intriguing one. While walking my dog with my wife near the Hudson River, we saw a triangular-shaped gray craft. It appeared to suck water up into it for about 5 minutes, then set about 15 to 25 feet above the ground for 15 minutes. It appeared to be about the size of a single-seater plane. My dog was shaking and whining the whole time, and that's what made me believe that perhaps this was something strange. I asked my wife if she had her phone, and she did take pictures. She hasn't sent them to me yet, but when she does, I'm loading them onto my computer and sending them to this site. Now that is interesting. Sucking up water. Now I've heard random stories before in case files of UFOs over the water and literally sucking water up into them. We're going to skip down a couple. This one lasted 1 hour out of Sharon, Connecticut. It says strange star over northwest Connecticut. Said I was smoking a cigarette out on my porch. I closed my eyes for a few minutes to adjust my eyes and see the stars better. If I did that, I saw Scorpio. After I did that, I saw Scorpio and the Big Dipper. Looked for the North Star and found it. But to the right, I saw something else. Kind of zipping, swerving, and moving. It was brighter than the other stars. I laid out on the grass for about an hour. In that time, I was the star move. I think he meant to say I saw the star move unnaturally quickly against the others, swerving back and forth. I found when I focused my vision on other peripheral stars, the UFO would not move. But when I reverted my gaze, it would swerve back and forth and end up in a completely different position against the other stars. This made me think it had to be an optical illusion and that I was imagining it. But the way it moved seemed so extraordinary that I felt I had to report it. If it was in fact not a star or an optical illusion, I feel that it must have been aware when I was looking at it, and when I was looking at other stars to map its movements. It only moved when I looked directly at it. Now that's intriguing, isn't it? Kind of a quantum function there, huh? Another notable thing is that occasionally a light would flash beside the UFO to my left, approximately northwest. This happened about 5 times in the course of an hour. It looked like a slight dimmer star would light up momentarily and disappear. At first, to me, it looked like a battle. I was raised on Star Wars. But it later seemed to be part of a propulsion system, as the UFO would accelerate after the lesser star would see into being and dimmed into nothing. So, I've never heard a case file quite like that before. It's strange that it only moved like when it was being observed, like it wanted the person to see it, right? Like it wanted to be blatantly noticed. I don't know, that's weird. It has kind of a quantum connection there too with the, it only moved when the consciousness was laid upon it. That's intriguing. This comes out of Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. This is reported on 5/19/21. This has been ongoing in my residence for the last several months. I've contacted the Commonwealth as there's a federal prison behind me, but they say they know nothing about it. It happens every night and all night until the sun comes up. I have hundreds of videos and pictures of my security camera, but it doesn't tell me what it is. I guess I should have read that before I read that to you guys, I'm literally going through here live on air and just pulling these up, so I don't know what's behind them any more than you do. Here's one that's really close to me. This is about 3 hours away from me, and Meridian, Idaho. Says what looked to be a sparkling contrail was actually a massive illuminated ship that crossed the sky. And Idaho has had its definite fair share of UFO reports. That's one thing I am excited about living up here in these Idaho mountains is possibly getting some of these UFO reports. Personally, myself, being able to see them, like witnessing a UFO. According to this person in Meridian, it says it was something very long, silently flying across the sky, then looked as if it just disappeared into an entirely different dimension. Oh my God. With the naked wire, this thing looked like a sparkling contrail. That's what I thought it was first, for some reason, or a meteor. It resembled a trail of sparkling dust that something had left behind. Thankfully, I had my binoculars, which I always carry. It was a solid, long, black, but lit-up craft. It was extremely long and resembled more of a sparkling sword. Now, that's twice sparkling has come up in these case files tonight. That's interesting. Like a massive, long ship with its own constellations. I took a picture with my phone, but does not come close to what I saw. And again, there's no pictures posted on any of these. These are literally just the text reports. See what else we have here. Another one out of another one out of Idaho, and that looks to be the exact same report. So it looks like he posted this report twice for some reason. So next we have Fall River, MA. Is that Missouri or is that Maine? That might be Maine. Early Monday morning, I was sitting on my deck looking northeast. That's when I noticed a large red and orange ball of light just under the cloud covering. The ball of light hung in the sky, then slowly started to descend. I would say it resembled a sunset, but without lighting up the whole sky. The ball of light lasted about 3 minutes before disappearing. I was able to take 4 pictures of this glowing ball, so it's not like it was an illusion as far as just the mind playing tricks, because these people clearly got pictures of these balls of light in this case. Susanville, California reported 5/17/21. We were facing north towards Alturas with the Sierra Nevada mountains to our back. A string of about 20 to 25 lights moved from, we were facing towards Alturas and Sierra Nevada, moved from west to east. That was weird the way this is written out. Sorry, guys. Faded out in the light wash of the high desert state prison. This string or train of lights, far too close together to be any kind of light formation. Now, this one I'm going to say could possibly be the Elon Musk satellites. They do travel in a train of lights, so that very well could be a misreported UFO, and that could be the Starlink satellites is the word I was trying to look for there. But this next one I don't think was Starlink. Check it out. North Tonawanda, New York. This was reported also on 5/17/21. Large oval-shaped object spotted with lights that had the appearance of shooting stars, but it wasn't. A fairly large aircraft was sighted flying above North Tonawanda. At first it had the appearance of several shooting stars. However, they were going the wrong direction. After watching it for a few moments, it became clear that the light were attached to a fairly large object that did not look like an airplane. In fact, it seemed 5 times larger than any typical airplane. The aircraft seemed to have had an elongated oval shape when the dark areas become more visible from the moonlight. It appeared to have 3 white lights to the rear when fairly even spacing in between. The brighter lights had a hazy streak of dimmer light going from the rear towards the front. And guys, I'm reading these the way they're written, and if it sounds weird, trust me, it sounds weird to me too. They're just written in some really weird ways. Next on the list of UFO reports, we have one from 5/16. Says this is in Kaiser, Oregon. This was either a formation or a single craft with many lights on the outside. It was moving very slowly across the sky above my house. I tried to film, but nothing showed on my camera. Though on zooming in, it looked like a single craft with lights outside. Too grainy to see anything in photos. There was a soft humming noise, and it moved towards the east and out of view. So it was actually moving more towards my direction then. That's interesting. Says, Jacksonville, North Carolina, 3 bright orbs spaced apart and aligned with the moon. Observed for an hour 3 round bright objects that appeared to float above passenger aircraft contrails. They aligned east to west with the moon. Now, this is not a string. That was only 3. See, it can't be a string of like satellites if it's only 3 of them. We know that the Starlink is more than just 3 satellites. Next up we have, let's find a good one here. Sonoya. Oh, here's a good long one. Okay. This should actually take us right up to the break. This comes in on 5/18/21 in Sonoya, Georgia. Light object traveling across sky, reacting to second light and defying logic of common air travel. I woke up from a late afternoon nap and went outside to urinate. While I looked up at the sky and noticed a light similar to a dull star moving across the sky. I thought to myself, wow, that plane must have every light on, and they must be bright for me to see them as they were far away. As I was watching it across the sky, it started to move up and down as to wiggle, and then it stopped and started, fast and slowed, then disappeared across behind the tree line. I then went into the house, looked at the time. My Keurig coffee machine said it was 10:07. I then grabbed my phone and immediately called my brother and PA, and while I was explaining to him, I saw yet another light moving in the same area go across the sky. It stopped, and another light appeared at the 3 o'clock position, in which the first light seemed to be reacting to it, as it then moved downward, and the second light moved around to the 9 o'clock position, counterclockwise. Then the second light disappeared. Red in the first light started to move up and down, moving slowly forward, then fast, then moved out of view. The travel pattern of both sightings was from northward to southward direction. The position of where this was seen from my location. The moon was at my back and the Big Dipper was to the east, or one of the pots of the dippers. Of the moon, using the second star in the Big Dipper handle, which was facing east, and holding my arms in the air, keeping them about 20 inches apart, and in line with the handle of the Big Dipper. I was able to try to provide my brother with a general area to look. He did not see anything and stated his skies were hazy. I was definitely in shock to witness such an event, as it defies what is known about objects traveling in the air. Things just don't stop and change directions, and then speed up and slow down. I am unsure of what I witnessed, but I witnessed something. And this is pretty common report, I don't know what I witnessed, but I witnessed something. They did not move like regular aircraft. The lighting was completely incorrect. They were interacting with each other at high speeds and moving in odd directions. None of these things are what standard aircraft can do. And of course, we all know that. And when you go over these reports and we hear so many different reports, so many different people telling you that they're seeing this pretty well same type of phenomenon, and they're coming in from all over the country, from Idaho to California to New York to what else we got here? Vermont, strange string of lights in the sky. Okay, again, that might have been Starlink, but Starlink aside, there are so many different reports that have pretty well the exact same patterns. These objects that are lit up a certain way and moving the wrong direction and moving against normal air traffic patterns and moving in directions and speeds that are just impossible to what we would consider in a normal aircraft. Now, the question is, where do they come from? Because not at any point does it state that these come from another planet. That is all speculation, right? It could very well be our own military, right? They could have stuff that they've back engineered from other planets or stuff that they've just created and have yet to tell the regular citizenry anything about. There's so many options that it could be, and hopefully this new report coming out this month, if we're lucky, probably next month, let's be honest, but hopefully when it comes out, it could possibly shed some light on the goings-on in the government, although I doubt it. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, as you hear that music, we got to go ahead and take a network break right here. So my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. You're listening to the Rippin' Common Sense Radio Network, the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. And we'll be right back with the second half of the Darkwolf's Den Show UFO reporting after these messages. Don't you touch that dial. That's right.
We gotta stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Ow! Hi everyone, it's AJ the Rippin' Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's edition of the Darkwolf's Den Show? I know I am. If you are and you haven't done so already, please make sure to thumb up that video, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell. You'll get our notifications every time we go live. We're here every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday nights, bringing you the very best of common sense radio, the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. I'll return again tomorrow night, Friday, June 4th. Starts at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Come along with me down the rabbit hole and explore show kids and stage parents. That's going to be an interesting journey down the rabbit hole. Again, starts at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, as all shows do. Then Saturday night, summertime. That's right. Have you made a bucket list for yourself? Do you have things you want to do this summer that you will check off? It's summertime, and Saturday night, summertime, we're going to make some commitments to what we want to see happen in the next couple months. And then we're going to end out the weekend right with a regular monthly here at the Rippin' Rabbit Hole. That's right, Sunday night, June's edition of the fantastic fun show. Oh my goodness, I am so excited. How about you, Eugene? Are you excited for Sunday night's fantastic fun show?
It is not certain, but possible.
It is not certain, but possible. That's right. The greatest interactive game show on radio returns to the airwaves Sunday night. Will Juanito 1975 stay seated on the throne? Or perhaps will the battle continue in new and undiscovered ways? Tune in Sunday night, June, 4th, 5th, 6th, June 6th. Can you believe it? The June edition of the Fantastic Fun Show. I am super excited. Get your fat fingers ready to play. I have a complete deck like you've never seen before. And of course, the battle over the return of Eugene continues Sunday night. I'm so excited. I really, really am. If you haven't done so already, please make your way on over to the rippinrabbithole.com. Sign up for your exclusive backstage VIP pass. It's going to give you unfiltered access to where the conversation continues down the rabbit hole after the show. We'll return to tonight's topic, the series of the KGB book of alien races, with your host, Jerry Hicks, and the Darkwolf's Den Show. You're listening to the Rippin' Common Sense Radio Network, the rippinrabbithole.com.
This is My Life DIY, and
hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Rippin' Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to Darkwolf's Den.
The Darkwolf's Den Show on Rippin' Common Sense Radio.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the Darkwolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And welcome back to the second half of the DarkWolf's Den Show for Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in tonight, we are going over UFO reports, the actual case files that were reported in the month of May. And yes, if this sounds like the show AJ did the other night called UFO Reports, you are absolutely right. That is where I got the inspiration for the show. And after finishing the book last night, I'll be honest, guys, I thought it was going to last for 2 more episodes. I didn't have anything planned for this episode, so this is something that I kind of put together in the last minute, not gonna lie, but it's something that I wanted to do for a while anyway, so kind of glad I got the chance to do it, right? And shout out to AJ for doing something like this last week, the UFO reports. It is sincerely appreciated, my friend, for the inspiration at least. Ladies and gentlemen, we are, like I said, going over UFO reports from the National UFO Reporting Center, or NUFORC.org. And you guys know I love case files. Like I said in the first half, I go over case files all the time on this show. And this is something that I've wanted to do, like I said a moment ago, also for quite a while. And this might be a regular show, right? Maybe once a month we could do the monthly UFO report, right? Or is AJ already doing that? I might have to go back and listen to that show. But yeah, maybe we can go through NUFORC and do a monthly UFO case file report. Instead of just a UFO report, we'll go over individual case files, right? There we go. Maybe we can make something of it. But anyway, guys, to get that, we have to actually finish this episode of it, right? See how it turns out. Like our next case file, which comes from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I've actually got some family over in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Shout out to you guys if you're listening over there. The Hicks family, and you know who the rest of you guys are. Really love you guys over there. But anyway, Grand Rapids, Michigan, 5/17/2021. Bright white light in twilight sky. Man, whoever wrote this one is really trying to make me mess up. Bright white light in twilight sky. They got some good rhyming there, huh? Stepped outside shortly after sunset and noticed a bright white light in the southeast sky. Light was a little less than the apparent brightness of Venus. Traveling at high altitude, about 40 degrees above the horizon. Well, see, it's not Venus. Venus doesn't travel that quickly. It travels slowly across the sky, right? The sky was still light enough that no stars were yet visible, though the crescent moon was clearly apparent in the southwest sky. Had time to grab my binoculars from my car. Through the binoculars, the light appeared to be a single steady point of light with no colored navigation lights or strobing. The light traveled in a straight line, moving at a steady speed from the southwest toward the northeast. It was visible for at least 90 seconds before fading in the distance. I thought it might have been the ISS, but checking the tracking app showed that the ISS wasn't due to be visible in my location in the northwest for several more hours. So that's an intriguing case file. I like the detail in here, the common sense of it. He grabbed the binoculars. He did his best to try to verify, is it an aircraft? What is it? Things like that. There were certain details in that one that you could show. He did his best to, or he or her, whoever it may be, did their best to try to logically explain it every way they could before they just ran out of options. Let's be honest here. Let's see what else we got here. Frenchtown, New Jersey, 5/16/21. Black object effortlessly floated without use of wings or engine. Me and my friends were sitting outside playing cornhole. Yes, that is a real game. I know that's a funny name, but check it out. It is a real game if you've never heard of cornhole before. A black object flew at a very stable speed and kept the same altitude. It almost looked like a giant black garbage bag floating in the wind, but a few hundred feet above the ground. It came in the direction over the Delaware River and moved northeast. It was the most effortless thing I have ever seen move in the air. Sometimes there are paramotors in the air, and we all are very aware of what a paramotor looks like when it flies. The strangest thing was that we did not see any signs of an engine, wings, chute, or anything. It just seemed like it was a drawing of a very straight line without having control. Seemed like it was drawing a very straight line without having control. Now, when you see an object that has no control structures, no fins, no wings, no nothing, and it's still moving like that, that is definitely something that humankind, to the best of my knowledge, does not possess. Our next one comes from San Pedro, California, also on the 16th of May. This one only lasted 10 to 15 seconds. Unbelievable! Very large circle shadow drifted across the water and docks at the port of Los Angeles, headed northeast. Shadow was about 300 feet across, silently drifting with no noise, and nothing in the sky to be seen causing the shadow. Myself and 2 co-workers witnessed this, as well as numerous long horsemen, all of whom stopped working to watch this event. Has anyone else seen this? We were all stunned and cannot stop talking about it. Absolutely nothing in the sky could be seen or heard while this huge shadow moved across the port. So this is another one that we've heard tonight that it resembles invisibility. We heard the sparkling ones earlier that they only seen the sparkling ones when the sun hit it just right. So perhaps there's a cloaking or invisibility that, whether it's the governments of the world or the U.S. specifically, or if it's the extraterrestrials, whoever it may be, they have some cloaking technology that isn't quite working right. We have a very short one here from Plymouth, Pennsylvania on the 16th. Says large, dull white cigar or disc hovered, gradually glided east where it vanished in the night sky, absorbed it. It made no sound. Absorbed it. If I can get my lips to work today, my goodness, between the tongue and the lips, they do not like to work together to make these shows anymore. We've got the next case file coming out of Vincent, Alabama, again on the 16th. I'm seeing a trend here. Why are all these happening right around the 16th and 17th? I haven't seen a whole lot of spread in these different case files. 2 objects were headed towards each other, then they stopped abruptly. They headed east, and 3 other objects came from the east and stopped and hovered. Another red object slowly came from the south, hovering. The last 2 objects came from the south, approximately 60 to 80 feet, and crossed each other at high speeds, and they took off towards the east. Meanwhile, during the event, it looked like a helicopter and 3 planes came by. It looked like they were putting on a show. So again, this suggests that it could be military craft and not something from out of this world. But then again, it only suggests such, right? Perhaps the military are testing on these days. I mentioned a moment ago, quite a few of them are happening on this same day, the 16th, once again, of May, like this next one from Rochester, New York. The duration of the incident was 3 seconds, but they've got a lot of detail here, shaped rectangular. At around 9:30 p.m., May 16th, 2021, we had a crescent moon. So I brought out the telescope to look at the moon. Now that's interesting. We've heard a couple times people referencing this crescent moon that we had, right? Maybe that's a key to it. Maybe that's one reason that they're being seen more often. Maybe the crescent moon has something to do with it. I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and start looking at these case files across history a little closer and see about the moon phases. Maybe there's a connection there. Like for real, for real. While looking at the moon very close, I think I was using a 9mm lens, and had a very clear and close view of every detail on the moon. I watched a rectangular-shaped ship go from bottom of the moon that was lit up by the sun up to the dark part of the moon. The UFO moved very quick and traveled the surface of the moon in about 3 seconds. I also noticed it was fairly bigger than most of the craters on the moon, and it left a shading on the ground as it traveled. So that shows it was a solid object. It was leaving a shadow on the ground. I mean, that's just my opinion. Let's see where I just lost my place here. As it traveled, I came to the conclusion it must have been massive for me to see it as I did. It had the shape of a rectangle if you rounded off its edges and thinned out the front of it. It caught me off guard, so I didn't get many detailed on it. But it was dark, like black or smoky gray. The UFO had no lights, nor did it leave a trail. I watched for several hours after that to see if it would come back around, seeing as it moved so fast, but never did. I use the telescope a lot to take a look at the moon. It's a decent telescope, and like I said, I get really close detail to the surface, and never seen anything pass by the moon like that or that size or even leaving a shadow on the surface. It was pretty interesting. I sometimes see weird things fly by, but you can't tell it's usually something in your own atmosphere. So I know, or you can tell it's usually something in your own atmosphere, excuse me. So I know the difference between the two. Now, that is a wild case file. I like the detail. I like the common sense of that case file. Somebody knew what they were doing when they put that one together. Very, very interesting detail. It left a shadow as it moved across the moon, and it was speeding across the moon in just a matter of seconds. That's wow. We do know from the book that we went over for the last couple episodes that there are supposedly a couple different races on the moon, so I mean, if you take that for putting it with this, that might make a little more sense. They might not be traveling to and from, but around on the moon, right? And it did say one of them lived on the dark side, and that object was heading for the dark side of the moon. Our next case file comes from Belen, New Mexico. As I pulled to the light on my way into the city for work, I noticed a big silver metal sphere in the sky, not moving. So I pulled over and took a couple pictures during this time. Okay, this is just one run-on sentence, so bear with me. I took a couple pictures. During this time, I could see it clear as day and had no noticeable rotation. Did not move in any direction my entire time seeing this. Then I went to work about an hour. I had my girlfriend go and see if it was still there, and it was not. So that's a weird case file. I don't even know what to say to that one. You don't hear a whole lot about these. Oh, here's one from Kamloops, Canada, British Columbia. A cigar-shaped object, again on the 16th of May. Lackluster sighting in comparison to other sightings, but I was camping with my girlfriend when we noticed what we initially thought was a comet and or meteor. As it got closer, it started to look more like a jumbo jet with no wings, tail, lights, or sound. Can't seem to find anything online about it. And that's the end of that one. Another one near me, Nampa, Idaho, just next door to Meridian, actually, guys. And this is on the 15th. Reported on the 16th, but actually occurred on the 15th, the day before most of these have occurred. Said my father and I were coming back from Lake Lowell, and on our way back home, we noticed a long, low, glowing bar of light floating along the skyline. As he got closer, we could see the lines around it, but the other sides weren't illuminated. Our best estimation is that it was 3 football fields long. It looked like it was half the size of the town, even at skyline level. It was traveling from Caldwell towards Boise at a slow cruising speed. It quickly sped up and vanished shortly after that. I got a video, but it was so dark it's hard to see anything. If a video editor could enhance the images, it will be able to be seen. And again, there is no video or pictures or anything but text on this page, so I don't really have anything else to share as far as video or pictures go. We've got time for just a couple more here. Let me scroll on down. Okay, so apparently I was just in the section that only had the earlier reports. Let's go to the middle of the month reports. So let's go to the first of the month here and see if we can find. Here's a good one. Chicago, Illinois. Shout out to all my friends in Chicago. My wife and I were sitting on the grass in the park overlooking the water of Lake Michigan at Montrose Harbor facing east. Sky was fairly clear, some clouds in the distance. We are familiar with the area. There is no considerable air traffic at O'Hare Airport. We saw 3 spherical silver shining orbs formation traveling east to west between the typical flight path elevation. They were traveling quite faster than typical commercial aircrafts. I pointed them out to my wife. She saw them as well. They disappeared in the distant cloud formation to the east. This happened at 6:20 p.m. on May 1st, 2021. Weather was clear and sunny. Approximately 3 to 5 minutes after we observed the event, I saw another single spherical object moving in the same direction. That object was just as fast as the others. There was no sound coming from the object. The formations held, and speed was incredible. And that's the end of that case files, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of the time we have for the case files this evening. What do you guys think? I think I screwed up and didn't actually have the right section of the page pulled up, and we were only hearing case files from the middle of the month. What's interesting is after the middle of the month, they actually seem to die off. So take that for what you will. We'll see if that becomes a pattern in the future going forward, because we are going to make this a common once a month show, ladies and gentlemen. The UFO Reports case file show for May 2020, ladies and gentlemen, or for June 2020 in this case, right? In the end, ladies and gentlemen, all you can do is listen to the case files, apply a little common sense, and you be the judge. We got to close it out. That's right, that's it for this episode of the Darkwolf's Den Show for Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, the den may be closing, but don't you worry. Now that we've got the weekend kicked off right, the weekend fun has only just begun. Check it out tomorrow night, Friday, June 4th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, right here on Rippin' Common Sense Radio, Rippin' Rabbit Hole. Mr. AJ the Rippin' Rabbit himself comes back for another series of episodes of the Rippin' Rabbit Hole live show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. On Friday, June 4th, he's going to be talking about show kids and stage parents. I personally am a stage artist myself. I love drama, I love acting, I love, as you guys know, radio and public performance. However, this is one thing I personally don't like. But I'm sure AJ is going to talk quite a bit about his thoughts on it and how it's become a thing, and who knows what he's going to cover about it, but I'm sure it's going to be an amazing episode on Friday, June 4th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, right here on Rippin' Common Sense Radio. Then on Saturday, June 5th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, all shows here on the network start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Mr. AJ the Rippin' Rabbit returns to the airwaves for another episode of the Rippin' Rabbit Hole live show, this time about summertime, my favorite time, summertime. Remember that song, guys? I am so old, right? Anyway, great discussion on summertime, the fun, the events, the amazing enjoyment we all get out of summertime, plus the extended amount of vitamin D we're finally able to get right after the sun's come out and the clouds have gone from wintertime. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, AJ is going to be talking about my favorite time of the year, summertime, on Saturday, June 5th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, right here on Rippin' Common Sense Radio. Then on Sunday, AJ the Rippin' Rabbit's going to round out the weekend right with the most fun that you can have on radio. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Fantastic Fun Show for the month of June. The summertime edition, that's right, building on Saturday's summertime episode. This will be the June summertime edition of the Fantastic Fun Show. And would you like to become the next king or queen of the Fantastic Fun Show, ladies and gentlemen? Well, you definitely can over here, and just come on over on Sunday to the YouTubes, and it's going to be a live trivia, interactive riddles game show where points are assigned, and the winner will be announced at the end of the show, and we will have a new king or queen, hopefully, for the Fantastic Fun Show. Will My Life DIY pick up her 5th crown, or will Juanito 1975 be able to hold the crown himself and keep it for another month? Ladies and gentlemen, only you can decide that, and maybe you can take the crown away from them both on Sunday, June 6th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, right here on Rippin' Common Sense Radio, RippinRabbitHole.com. Speaking of the RippinRabbitHole.com, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hop on over to the RippinRabbitHole.com and sign up for our mail list over there. Make yourself a backstage pass. Once you do that, you're going to gain access to all of the goodies available on the RippinRabbitHole.com, like our 24/7 backstage lounge, where I'm going to go here in just a couple minutes and hang out with the rest of my rabbit buddies back there. And more than welcome to have yourself back there if you would like to join us. We would love to see you. Then on the website also, we have the Down the Rabbit Hole section. That is our exclusive social media alternative over there. Do make sure you hop down the rabbit hole and drop us a line and tell us how you're doing, ladies and gentlemen. On that note, I've got to get out of here. We are running late this week, so I really appreciate everybody hanging out with us. We have had a absolute blast here with you guys this Memorial Day weekend and ready to kick off the new week, right? Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of AJ the Rippin' Rabbit, Walt House, Chick Mandela Effect, Michael Musco, Tom Bayless, get it Tom, Tom Bayless, Red Shed Studios, and this amazing music you're hearing right now. Get down, Tom. That's right, Tom Bayless. If you're looking for a custom soundtrack for your next project, check out Red Shed Studios, ladies and gentlemen. Links in the description. Also, we are now accepting cryptocurrency. If you would like to help support us here on the Darkwolf's Den Show, we have links down in the description box to send us Bitcoin, Ethereum, LiteCoin, all of the amazing cryptocurrencies, as well as a slew of others. Check the description box below, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And remember, until next time, stay awake, but dare to dream. Good night, everybody. How? Yeah, that's right.
Unlocked and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever Oh, what a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. The lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner. Is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner. Is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion. I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a wonderland of confusion.